All right, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while now. Look, if you're not aware of GLP-1 weight loss drugs, you've been living under a rock. And the purpose of this video is for my clients who are on these drugs, people who may be considering going on these drugs, and just to educate people on what these drugs do, but also how they are not a replacement for diet and exercise. So this came about from something I overheard where it was like, well, why would I hire a trainer and a nutrition coach if I can just take a GLP-1 weight loss drug? Great point. If your goal is just to lose body mass, then yes, take a GLP-1. Now, if we dig a little bit deeper on that, what is included in body mass? Well, you're going to lose some body fat. Great. That's everyone's goal. But if you're not working with a trainer or aware of special things you need to consider when it comes to nutrition, you're also going to lose a significant amount of muscle mass and bone mineral density. Now, if you don't understand why that's a problem, that's a conversation for another day. But the GLP-1s will definitely help you eat less. That is what they do. Okay, so let's start with that. A GLP-1 drug does not increase your metabolism, make you burn more calories. No, it just blocks a signal that tells you to eat more. So it helps with eating less. It helps put you in a calorie deficit. What it cannot do is help you build muscle. So this is very similar to conversations I've had with clients regarding hormone replacement therapy, or even using steroids. Is look, you can take them, but you still have to work out. You can't just take anabolic steroids and expect to build massive amounts of muscle. You still have to train hard. So the GLP-1s do a great job of making you not hungry. They suppress your appetite. They help people lose weight, often very rapidly. And they can be a very valuable tool for people who have struggled, especially for a long time. And we hear this a lot about the concept of food noise. So again, as a registered dietitian and a trainer, I'm not opposed to them like some people might assume. I think they need to be used appropriately, but I also am standing here kind of waving the red flag saying, hey, if we're not aware of this, what I'm going to talk about next, we're setting ourselves up as a society for some major issues. Now, luckily, a lot of doctors are on top of this, but like many health professionals, they may tell you to do something, but do you always do it? You know, to be honest, I've been told my whole life to floss, but I've also been told your teeth look great, your gums are healthy. So why would I floss? Right? And that's something that I still struggle with to this day. I do it, not as much as I should, but more than I have. So we'll see what happens at the next dentist appointment. The hidden danger with GLP-1s, and again, strictly taking GLP-1s, is that without two major drivers, you are risking significant muscle loss. And again, why is this a problem? Slower metabolism, you're more prone to weight regain, and the biggest one that no one wants to talk about, but it's a fact, increased risk for frailty, injury, and just overall poor aging, especially risky for women over 40 who already have a higher rate of osteoporosis, osteopenia, sarcopenia. So again, I'm not saying don't take these drugs. I'm saying we got to make sure that we're taking them appropriately, but also doing the two biggest drivers of maintaining muscle mass. And that is strength training, and that is getting enough protein. So strength training is not just about burning calories. It is like an insurance policy. The benefits of strength training: maintaining or building lean muscle mass. This preserves your strength, your posture, your bone health. And it supports long-term fat loss by keeping your metabolic rate higher, because the more muscle mass you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate is, the amount of calories you burn at rest, compared to someone who has less muscle mass. And this is always going to be the biggest component of your basal metabolic rate and your total daily energy expenditure. So no, you don't lose fat in the gym no matter what you're doing, but we have to build muscle in the gym. And that goes without saying for people who are on GLP-1s. Now, your workouts may look a little different than what you're used to. And why is that? Well, if you're not eating as many calories, if you're on a GLP-1, you know this, you may be more fatigued. You may be more tired because at the end of the day, you're eating less calories. You have less fuel in your gas tank. So you may need to modify your training programs, and a personal trainer, that's what their job is. Their job is to work with you, not to give out mundane template programs. A good trainer is going to have that conversation with you, and you should have that conversation with them as well and say, hey, I started this drug after talking with my doctor. Here's how I'm feeling. And we can work together with you. I am currently working with several clients who are on GLP-1s. And yes, we changed their program because the intensity and the duration is not necessary anymore. But we want to get the minimum effective dose to maintain muscle mass. And no matter who you are, what your goals are, but if your goal is muscle, you need to be still doing what's called progressive overload. And that is challenging yourself a little bit more reps, more weight, a little bit more intensity. Again, this doesn't need to mean that you're doing these hour-long, 90-minute-long sessions, but when it's time to lift heavy, you need to lift heavy. And heavy is relative, and that's what a good trainer should help you do. It also is going to prevent injury. By having a coach and having a good plan for your current situation, no matter what that is, you're going to minimize the risk for injury. We cannot avoid it 100%, but you need to be doing appropriate workouts for what your body can handle at that moment. As far as nutrition goes, why you should still be working with a nutrition professional and paying attention to your nutrition, it's not just about eating less. Yes, calories are the king. Calories are what drives weight loss. But again, if the goal is to maintain your muscle mass or build muscle mass, people are still eating way too low protein. Protein is the building blocks for muscle. Okay, we need the stimulus, the training, and then we need the building blocks from amino acids, which come from protein. So people still miss their protein goals without being on GLP-1s, let alone now they're not even hungry. They can really miss their protein goals. That's not good. This can lead you to under-eating, skipping meals, and also struggling with nutrient timing for the smaller amount of calories that you are eating. We want to make sure that you're timing those up so you can get the most out of your workouts and you can get the most out of recovery. So working with a nutrition coach on coming up with a eating plan and schedule that works best for you and also helps maintain muscle mass, pretty darn good idea. Bonus points if you're working with a registered dietitian because they can actually go into much deeper depth legally and coach you on certain things like specifics of nutrient timing, medical nutrition therapy, and also supplementation that's based on science. Now, GLP-1s, great jumpstart. But we also know if you stop the medication without changing habits, without building skills, the regain risk is very high. We already know this. So the coaching while you're on a GLP-1 is important for building long-term habits, helping lay down the groundwork for, okay, when are we going to get off this drug? We want to get used to eating more protein in our diet. We want to get used to training hard appropriately. Strength training. If you're not strength training, it's a great time to learn, right? Let the GLP-1 help you where it can help you, but maintain your muscle mass, build those habits so when you come off of it, your resting metabolic rate can even be higher because of the hard-earned muscle that you achieved. So, can GLP-1s help you lose weight? 100%. They can help you shrink, but coaching is going to help you stay strong. Remember this, it's not just about weight loss. It's about strength, energy, and confidence. And if losing some weight is part of that for you, that's a totally okay thing to want. But I'm urging you and I'm telling you, we need to make sure we're getting enough protein and appropriately strength training with a licensed professional. Otherwise, we are going to be in for a world of hurt down the road with a lot of thin but very weak and very frail Americans.